And today I'm going to be sharing with you how to travel alone through Europe on a budget. Traveling alone through Europe can seem extremely daunting and scary, but it can also be one of the most amazing and enriching experiences that you will have in your life. My name is Claire, welcome to my channel. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel and let's get into the video. So, I took my first solo trip through Europe in 2015. Someone very dear to me had recently passed away, and the only way that I knew to get out of the depression and the darkness that was going around all over was to just escape and find the best and brightest possibilities by pursuing something that I had never done by myself. Traveling has always been one of my passions, so I finally decided that I would book a flight alone to France, and from there I went to Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Denmark, and back to France. With the help of my family, I was able to figure out how to book a train through Europe and to be able to visit all of those countries on a budget. So let me show you how you can do the same. First off, you're going to want to plan your trip. Figure out where you want to visit and each destination. For example, figure out the top 5 countries that you want to visit and make sure that they are neighboring so that you can travel by train to each location. The Eurail pass, which is what I used, allows you to travel through one country, multiple countries, or even globally if you decide to do that. Once you decide your preferred destinations, it will be easier to choose the Eurail pass that works best for you. For me, I decided to go from France to Benelux, which is Belgium and the Netherlands combined, to Denmark, to Germany, and then back to France. Since each country is bordering the country next to it, the Eurail pass was something that I easily used to travel to all of these places. Check out the website www.eurail.com. This is my recommendation for how you book your train ticket. Step 2, train travel. You're going to need to determine how many travel days you will need to reach each destination. A travel day is a 24-hour period of time that you can use to reach one destination from another using your Eurail pass. For example, an 8-hour trip from one country to another would count as one travel day, but so would a 4-hour trip from one country to the other. So use your travel days wisely. If you have shorter trips in each country where you would like to visit a neighboring city or a neighboring town, instead of using your travel day, I recommend that you simply purchase a train pass separately. It's probably going to be very cheap, maybe 10 euros or something like that. That way you can use your travel days on something longer. In some cases, high-speed trains are available for Eurail pass holders for free. So definitely check and make sure before you decide to get a separate ticket from one neighboring city to another. As for the travel days themselves, usually you have about 2 whole months to use them up. So let's say you use one travel day to get from France to Belgium. Then you decide to stay in Belgium for a week or 2 weeks or however long you want. You can still use the rest of your travel days later when you want to, as long as you're within 2 months. If you are still confused about this, the Eurail website has a really great explanation and I will link that below. 3. Decide how long you want to be in each location. So this is where you will go research and figure out what there is to do, what sites you want to see. This is going to be really helpful in deciding how long you are actually going to be traveling for. For me, I wrote down each destination and then I researched all of the attractions and the sites that there were to see in each place. For example, in Amsterdam, I wanted to spend one day simply walking around town, checking out the shops and the major attractions. I also wanted to spend one day at the Pride Festival That was going to take up a big chunk of the day, and then I planned to go dancing in the evening. For my third day, I planned to visit the parks and also check out the museums. For me, that meant that I was going to spend 3 days and 2 nights in the hostels. Another thing to find out is, are there neighboring cities that you'd like to visit while you're still in that area? For example, my Eurail pass took me to Ghent, Belgium, but then I also wanted to visit Bruges, Belgium, which was only about 30 minutes away. So I decided I would dedicate one of my days in Belgium to visit Bruges. Some of your locations might need fewer or more days. That's totally fine, it's up to you. Sometimes it's okay to leave things open and not book your hostels, but in most cases it's probably a good idea to book ahead of time. Now that you have an idea of where you want to go and for how long, it's time to book your Eurail pass. A Eurail pass is for non-European travelers, while an Eurail pass is for European-based travel. Choose the countries that you would like to visit and the travel days that you need in order to visit those places, and then book it. You have 11 months from the date of purchase to actually head to the train station and begin your trip. Number 5, it's time for flights. Of course, you are going to have to book a flight to your first location. So for example, since I started in the US and I wanted to begin my actual European trip in France, I had to book a flight to France. It's always cheaper to book several months in advance if possible. Once you find your flight and actually book it, then you're going to want to make sure you have a hostel ready to go so that when you get to your location, you have 3 or 4 days, maybe even longer, to just rest, recover from your jet lag, and actually see the city that you begin in. So for example, since I wanted to start in Paris, it's a good idea to have a hostel booked in Paris for maybe 4 days to a week. That way I could see all of the sites in Paris, walk around, and just be all set. And then from there, I could start my train trip to the next destination. Don't worry, I will explain how to book hostels in just a couple moments. You can use any number of websites to actually look for and book your plane tickets. Here are a couple of examples: kayak.com, cheapflights.com, delta.com. Also, feel free to ask friends and family for their advice on finding cheap tickets to Europe. Number 6, book your hostels. For the hostels, it makes it a whole lot easier if you already know how many days you're going to spend in each location, as we figured out above. For me, I left things really open and I did not book all of my hostels ahead of time, which led to me not being able to find hostels when I got to each location. I know that sounds scary. So for example, when I reached Denmark, I did not have a hostel booked. I had just decided, oh, it's time to leave Amsterdam. I'm just going to take my travel day all the way up to Denmark. When I got there, it was already evening. I did not have a place to go. And luckily on the train, I found these 2 girls who were also going to a hostel, and I asked them if I could walk with them in order to find where they were. They were really nice and let me walk with them, and when I actually got to the hostel, it was booked. So I was freaking out and I asked the lady, please let me just stay here, and she was so nice. She found a separate yoga room and let me stay in there for the night. So in other words, make sure that you have booked your hostels ahead of time so that you don't end up like me, unprepared. Yes, that does mean you will have to plan in detail, but it will save you stress in the long run. I will mention though, if you're planning to travel during the winter, you might have an easier time keeping things open without booking your hostels. Because when I went, it was summertime, and that's when all of the travelers are out looking for hostels, booking hostels, traveling. So in winter, there might not be that much competition and you might be able to keep things a little bit more open. Here is a list of hostels that I used. Hostels.com. Using Hosteling International was one of the easiest way that I was able to book hostels. If you purchase the membership, you will also receive a 10% off discount on all of the hostels through Hosteling International for a whole year. My only qualm with the Hosteling International youth hostels were that sometimes they were a little bit further out of the city, so that I had to take a bus or public tracks or transportation just to get to them, which meant that I had to make sure that I was planning my day accordingly so it wouldn't turn out to be too late. So that kind of made it a little bit inconvenient, but it was still really a great hostel experience. My advice to you is to check the location of each hostel before you book them, just so you know where exactly they will be located and if they're going to be closer or further away from the attractions that you want to visit during the day. The other hostel websites that I used include hostelworld.com, hostelbookers.com, and hostels.com. During your search, it's always a great idea to find the hostels on the websites and then double check by Googling them or finding reviews online about each place so that you know and you have a peace of mind that they are what they say they are. Remember to book several days at a hostel near the airport where you first land in your first country. So for example, if you're going directly from the US to France, book your hostel in that same city so that you have an easy time going to your hostel, resting, taking a couple days to sightsee before you begin your train travel. Now you're all set to plan your amazing trip through Europe. This was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, and I cannot wait for you to go out there and go for it yourself. Even though you are traveling alone, the hostels are a great way to meet fellow travelers of similar interests, similar ages, and also have friends and companions that you can go traveling once you get to know them. So don't be afraid to make new friends, but always be safe. Make sure you're aware of your surroundings. Make sure you know who you're talking to, and just have fun. So be safe, have fun, and go out and live your dreams. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye!